Steve here, doing TV review for Marvel's Agent Carter. This would be Season 2, Episode 4, Smoke and Mirrors. I gotta say, I'm glad tonight's episode was good. I really needed that. I've been kind of down in the dumps all day, seeing Rand Paul lost the Iowa caucus, came in 5th, and I just been depressed and crying. I didn't even got out of bed today, but this episode I think made up for it. I'm glad it was good. It fixed my broken heart. But enough comfort food, enough moping. Let's just get into the review. So, like I said, let's get into the review. Well, I thought it was a pretty simple episode, pretty decent. Just kind of moved the story arc along. Biggest thing that basically happened is Jarvis and Peggy, they find out that the Chadwick's driver was a guy who tried to kill her in the last episode. So they find out who that guy is, and then they go to his house, and they ambush him. They shoot him with the tranquilizer dart, but he still doesn't go down, so there's a bit of a fight, and then Peggy has to jab him with the tranquilizer dart again, and then she ends up shooting Jarvis with it, comedy. And then they take him back to the mansion where they run into Soso, who's like, why are you kidnapping this guy? And she talks him into, keeping it secret so they can interrogate him. And they trick this guy, his name is Hunt, Mr. Hunt, into basically spilling the beans on the Council of Nine and everything he knows. And we find out a little more about the Council of Nine. We find out that not only were they behind the stock market crash, but they were behind the assassination of President William McKinley. And then, of course, they try to use this information to get a warrant, take down the Arena Club, which is the hideout of the Council of Nine. But Vernon Masters, who's played by Kirkwood Smith, Red Foreman, stops them in their tracks, and he's saying, "Hey, we're taking over your branch. We got to audit it." And he's being a heel because he's in bed with the Council of Nine. This has already been established. And then, of course, they figure out, well, how are we gonna get more information? So they let Hunt escape. And right away, I knew the guy was gonna die after this. I mean, I pretty much figured after he had spilled the beans, this, Mr. Hunt, he wasn't going to be with us the rest of the season. But when he escaped and he goes back to Chadwick's house where he runs into, Whitney Frost, it's like, I know where this is going. He's going to get sucked up into her like that one pervy director. And that's basically what happens to Mr. Hunt. They had a bug on him, so they, Peggy and Jarvis and Soso and Dr. Wilkes were all listening in. And here's my thing. Now, Mr. Hunt, right? He knows that if the Council of Nine, Chadwick, and all these people find out that he spilled the beans on him, he's going to die. So why did he just sort of punch Soso and run off? Wouldn't it have made more sense for him to kill Soso and then look for Peggy and Jarvis and kill them off too? But then we wouldn't have, Agent of Carter. So he doesn't, and he gets killed off. No big loss. Secondary character and a villain at that. A little more, we kept flashing back to Peggy's childhood as this kind of tomboy, and then she kind of settled in the role of being just a girly girl. And she had a fiance that I did not know. I know there's some comic books on the side. Maybe this was brought up in them, but I don't think it was brought up in Captain America or season 1. I was like, oh, she has a fiance, and I was thinking this guy gets killed off, but it looks like she broke it off with him. He was a boring guy anyway. And then we find out Whitney Frost, she grew up in Oklahoma, where she was a little girl who got into electronics, and she was always trying to study it, and her mother didn't like that. And her mother had this, I guess it was their landlord that she was sleeping around with, and he really didn't like little Agnes, who becomes Whitney Frost. And then we find out, the mother was always telling her she's got to be a pretty girl, which is kind of why she got into Hollywood. When she ends up going to Hollywood, she's broke on her luck. She runs into this sort of a shifty agent, and this guy talks to her about how she should be in the pictures. And as I'm watching this, I couldn't. This agent manager type who gets a hold of her. I was wondering if it was based on Spider-Man's agent, who, if you don't know Spider-Man comic books, when he first got his powers, instead of becoming a crime fighter, he tried to break into Hollywood, and he had an agent called Max Schiffman. And I was wondering if this character, it's credited as Ned Silver, is supposed to be the equivalent of that, of Max Schiffman, Spider-Man's agent. And that's really all I got to say about this episode. It was there to be there, and, it kept me entertaining. And, we'll look forward to the next episode. And speaking of looking forward to things, I am also looking forward to New Hampshire, where I hope my man Rand does better. If not, always eat Twinkies.